For many of our clients, we recommend doing total body strength training, but oftentimes a different picture than what we mean pops into people's heads. So today we want to dive into what we actually mean by doing total body strength training and why we believe that's a more effective approach than what most people believe it to be. We're going to cue our introduction and dive right into this conversation. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Exercise is Health podcast, brought to you by Muscle Activation Schaumburg. We're your hosts, Charlie
and Julie.
And today we're discussing this idea of total body strength training. What do we mean when we say total body strength training, and why do we believe it to be more effective than what many people describe as total body strength training? But we want to let you know that if you want to start taking action on what we're talking about today, it's exactly what we can help you do at our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg, where we specialize in muscle activation techniques. So all you need to do to see our availability and get our schedule is go to our website, www.matschaumburg.com, click the big green button that says Get Started, and you can schedule yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. All right, so when it comes to this idea of strength training, we recommend, like I said, doing total body strength training for almost all of our clients across the board. And reason being is because a lot of people, when they are adopting strength training into their workout routine, have the goal of just getting stronger overall. It's not like they're necessarily training for a specific sport or to do like one certain activity really exceptionally well. Sure, they might say, okay, I'm going to do, strength training because, I want to get better at golf or whatever. But let's be honest, they're very casual golfers, when you look at the continuum of like actually world-class excellent golfers versus, everyday Joe golfers. So when we're recommending doing strength training, almost across the board, we're saying, hey, we want you to do total body strength training. But when we tell people that, more times than not, a picture pops into their mind that's different than what we actually mean. And we find that a lot of people have this picture pop into their mind when they hear of total body strength training. So we want to take a second today to kind of clarify what we mean by it and why we feel it's actually a more effective way to go about doing strength training than what the picture that pops into people's minds.
That's right, Charlie. Oftentimes when we tell people to do total body strength training, the things that pop into people's head are things like combo moves where you're like using multiple body parts at the same time, or movements with kettlebells where it's like a full body experience all in one. Or even like this morning, I was dropping my car off to get at the mechanic, and there was like a commercial for like this machine that works all of your muscles at once. So a lot of times when we say total body exercise, people are thinking of those things, right? Like work my whole body all at once, and every muscle, as much muscles as we possibly can. But there's a huge limit to that philosophy, and that is whatever is the weakest area included in that exercise is going to be the most challenged, and whatever are the stronger areas are going to be the least challenged. Because if you're working it as a unit and everything is being challenged in the same way, then the weakest things are going to perceive that challenge the most. And so then the problem is that then there's no appropriate challenge for the muscles that should be challenged more. So let me give you a really specific example. So a really common like total body exercise that I hear a lot of people do would be like if they held dumbbells ready to do a press over their head, and then they do like a squat and a press and a squat and a press. And even if you included like a squat and a press and a push-up in there or something, in that sequence, my weakest area will be my upper body relative to like my lower body that's doing a squat. And so if I would press 12 pounds with an overhead press, then I'm also squatting with 12 pounds for my squat. But if I were to just do a plain squat, 12 pounds is not nearly enough to actually grow and stimulate and appropriately challenge my legs. And so there's like this huge discrepancy. So yes, you are doing multiple components at once, and there could be some skill benefit to that for sure, but there's definitely not enough appropriate total body strengthening happening because of the discrepancy of the parts relative to what you're doing.
Absolutely, and this holds true across the board for all people, but it becomes more pronounced the better conditioned your body becomes, and the stronger overall your body becomes. When you are very, very first starting off, working out, you may find it, difficult to coordinate your arms and coordinate your legs and, like access those muscle groups. And so it may feel somewhat beneficial to kind of do these combo exercises or whatever, where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm working my upper body and my lower body at the same time. But really quickly, like within a matter of weeks, you should be able to progress beyond that to exercises where you're like actually able to challenge your lower body and actually able to challenge your upper body, not trying to combine it all into one, because your strength should progress fast enough. If you are like brand new, like, super fresh, never done any strength training before, it should progress fast enough, throughout your body that you'd be like, okay, cool. Like now I can actually load these specific areas because the strength differential between those areas has gotten great enough that it is noticeably less challenging for my legs if I'm going to do, a squat to shoulder press than it is for my shoulders. So if I want to challenge my legs, I just need to do a leg exercise, and then I should find one that, really challenges my shoulders as well. And so understanding that for the vast majority of people, it is going to be far less efficient, both time-wise and as far as from a results perspective, to do these combo exercises. Now, I know that flies in the face of what is promoted with these combo exercises, where you get it all done at once, but you do a pretty mediocre job of getting it all done at once. And so what you're left with is spending time and energy doing kind of these mediocre, stimulating exercises for these different areas, and you do them for like 4 to 6 weeks, and you're like, why am I not getting any results? Because you actually haven't challenged anything, okay? I know you got your heart rate up, great, but we're talking about building the strength of your muscles, not trying to, burn calories and get your heart rate up. So you need to do something that really focuses on building the strength of your muscles, and that's what we recommend to people.
Absolutely. And a lot of combo exercise really like hit the nail on the head when it comes to like, I felt like I did a lot of work. I got general fatigue in my body. My heart rate was up. I was sweating. It like checks all those workout boxes. But what many combination or total body exercises really miss is that effectiveness and efficiency to actually challenge each part of your body appropriately. And we know that when we are challenging and regularly stimulating at a really high place each area of the body, we notice that strength improves dramatically. We also notice like function and the health of the muscles increase. So when we're working with people with MAT, we see a big difference in terms of, hey, how are people functioning? How is, mobility and strength holding on through time? And so we want to bias you towards thinking about total body, not as a singular exercise or, 3 singular exercises, but as a whole grouping of exercises. So you can almost think of in each workout, there's a handful of exercises, or there's a handful of exercises that I'm going to do, each appropriate for that area of the body. And then over a week or 2 weeks, you're eventually hitting total body, right? So total body is more of a bigger picture idea versus a micro picture in terms of we're not thinking, again, not a singular exercise that's hitting as many muscle groups as possible, but my grouping of exercises are hitting all the muscle groups that need to be hit. And so when you change that mentality, you're more thinking about like, okay, I'm going to work my biceps, I'm going to work my triceps, I'm going to work my trunk flexion, my extensors, all the groups or the muscle groups and the motions that your body does versus trying to be that quote unquote inefficient or efficient, which we are talking about how that's pretty inefficient exercises where everything is happening at one time.
Exactly. So what we're saying is like when you go to the gym and you're going to do what we consider to be like an effective total body strength training workout, you're going to do exercises for your upper body, your chest, your shoulders, your back. You throw some in for your arms, and you're going to do some exercises for your core. And you're going to do some exercises for your legs, okay? And it's unlikely that you are going to hit every single muscle group in your legs and every single muscle group in your back and every single muscle group of your shoulders, okay? Because time-wise, that would end up being a really long workout. It'd probably be too much stimulus into your system to really kind of give each area the necessary volume to really help strengthen it. And so you're going to say, okay, cool. When I go, and today I'm going to do, 3 sets of leg extensions and 3 sets of leg curls and, 3 sets of crunches and, 3 sets of rows and 3 sets of whatever it is, right? And so it's like, okay, I got, a couple upper body, 1 core exercise, and, a couple lower body exercises. And then the next time you're going to go and you're going to do different exercises following that same format. And because you're doing different exercises, now you're hitting, in some different muscle groups. And maybe instead of doing leg extension, you're doing hip add and abduction. Maybe you're throwing in some leg press or some deadlift or squats or whatever in there, right? But you're working your body in different ways each workout. In each workout, you are including exercises that cover the kind of general total body of like upper body, core, lower body. And then over the course of your series of workouts, that's when you're going to get a little bit more specific of like, all right, this exercise hits this muscle group, and this exercise hits this muscle group. And like Julie is saying, it may be, a week, 2 weeks, before you come back and cycle back into that specific exercise. But because you are hitting each general area every single time, there's going to be still some stimulus to apply to those different muscles, even if the exercises aren't specific for them.
That's right. And so I hope that after hearing this, you guys are realizing, oh, there's such a big difference between a total body workout and the total body exercises. And so I think what's important is like to place these in your brain, like where do these things belong? And I think one of our very first podcasts, I think it happened within the first couple months, but we talked about like foundational exercises. So these total body workouts, we want you to think about, these are my foundational exercises, meaning like regularly, whether that's a weekly cycle or a 2-week cycle, I am hitting every muscle group or every muscle motion that happens in my body, and I'm challenging them regularly. That's like the foundation of what your fitness should be. Like that's like the bare minimum, right? And then if you want to be doing extra stuff, like the stuff we talked about, like squats with presses and kettlebell work and other total body things, that's more of like not the foundational level. So you can always add that stuff in. We're not saying like, oh, never do that kind of stuff. But what most people are missing is the foundational layer of, hey, every week I'm individually hitting these areas so that everything is appropriately stimulated. And then on top of that, I can go do my functional training, or I can go do my sports, right? Like I go to pickleball or golf. Yeah, that is an exercise and activity, but it's not your foundational work. It's not like your base work that needs to happen all the time. So really what a lot of people, again, are missing is this base work, and that's what's leading to a lot of weaknesses being unchecked. That's what's leading to a lot of compensation. It's also what's leading to like a lot of imbalances that are just sitting in people's bodies, and they're like, well, I work out, I don't know what's the problem. Well, a lot of it is like, hey, we're just not getting like the basics of working out. We're missing those parts. So in our head, we're switching like, hey, total body exercises aren't bad. They're just being placed in the wrong spot. Like we need to be doing total body workouts all the time. And then on top of that, you can always add more things in.
Exactly. So what we see when people start to do this is their overall strength levels start going up, and their ability to do more of the total body exercises start to go up because they are getting a stronger, more resilient body overall, and they are taking the time to, strengthen specific areas of their body, reducing the likelihood that, your body's just compensating around those areas because it's not getting the stimulus by doing the total body exercises. So what we see again, when people start to add these in is, again, they are noticing that the activities that they are doing get easier because their body's getting stronger. Everyday life just gets easier because their body's getting stronger. And then the things that they had been doing for their workouts before, when they add those back in, it's like, oh yeah, this overall gets easier because their body's getting stronger overall. So that's why we recommend, hey, if you're wanting to do, the total body strengthening, that's how you go about doing it. You do exercises that are specific to specific areas of your body, and you make sure to hit all areas of your body throughout a workout, or all areas meaning upper body, core, lower body, and then you do that multiple times a week, cycling through the different muscle groups that you can hit with those exercises. So that's how we go about thinking about total body exercise. Again, we see it to be a more effective way of helping people strength train their body than trying to do these exercises that involve all areas of their body at once. So if this is something you would like to start taking action on, is exactly what we can help you with at our studio, Muscle Activation Schaumburg, where we specialize in muscle activation techniques. So all you need to do to see our availability and get on our schedule is go to our website, www.matschaumburg.com, click the big green button that says get started, and you can schedule yourself for your initial MAT consultation and assessment. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We always appreciate your eyes on YouTube, your ears on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen to us or consume our content. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating and review, it always means the world to us when you do. We are wishing you a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week.
This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.